This is breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.
Right, see where we're at. You're always, as a coach, not concerned, but wondering, what have you done things right, or what could you have done better, whatever. And let's get on with the game, and then you'll figure that out as you go. So, I think all our guys are excited to play for obvious reasons, and we may have to temper a little bit of that too as well. Make sure that the focus is in the right place, and just doing your job and doing it well is probably going to be the message.
If you have a question, please raise your hand on the right side, second row.
Vince Sapienza, Fox 5. I guess to that point, is that message this morning? Does that message come in the locker room before the guys go out?
No, we talked about details this morning. A couple of things that relative to the Panthers, some of the things they did different. Yesterday was more a review of what we've done well and continue to want to do well. We're drilling down a little more on them this morning, and so we'll talk about it, before the game a little bit. But again, I think our guys, once they get in the car to drive to the rink, you're back into your routine, right? And I think now you're at the rink, you're doing what you do to prepare, and you get a lot more normalized, I think, which you've done all year. So that's the good news. They're here now and going through their prep to play another game. And I think that's where they're probably at their most comfortable, especially this time of year.
Right side, third row.
Hi, Bruce. Steve Karp with the Sporting Tribune. Could you just talk about how you and your staff came up with a plan to save legs throughout this entire playoff run? Because your guys seem pretty fresh for a team that's played a lot of hockey the last 2 months.
We've balanced minutes. I think that starts there. We don't try not to overtax any one individual. We've always been 4 lines, 60. I think that helps. We haven't had to go through any real extended overtimes as well, so that the recovery is probably fairly normal after a game. I think there was one that went into double overtime way back in Winnipeg, so most of them were quick, good or bad. And practice we've tried to use to get what we need without overextending guys. That has been a communication between coach and players to see where they're at and still try to get our work done. So I think when you don't go, we haven't gone 7 games, so there's been some built-in rest between series as well. I think that always helps in the long run. That's probably it.
Front left.
Adam Hill, Las Vegas Review-Journal. You talked about talking some details about what Florida's doing. There is some lineup uncertainty on that side. How much does that complicate maybe what you guys are planning on doing?
It doesn't complicate it much, to be honest with you. I mean, we'll deal with whoever's in there. They've obviously got top-end players and probably more power play situations where you have to make more adjustments, but the 5-on-5 stuff doesn't really change. Obviously, Kachuk's a high-end player, so there's certain tendencies he has that we've talked about all series. So if he's in, those remain the same. If he's not, then, and I don't know who else. I mean, he's been the topic of discussion probably a little more than others. So it doesn't change a lot, just some individual tendencies.
Take a few more questions, back right.
Hey, Bruce, Gary Lawless, Vegas Golden Knights. Is there something, you heard along the way from Brian Kilrea or Daryl Sutter or whoever, or just anybody that you're leaning on today, like a little bit of a slogan or a thought process?
Not today. Nope. I mean, I've taken a lot from those guys. I mean, Daryl, certainly when we won a long time ago in the minors, I mean, it hurts to win like that. He played a hard game, hard to play against game. That's what he demanded out of his players. So, I learned that just by playing. You tried to, keep that in the back of your head over the years. But no, nothing in particular today. I mean, we were just talking in there, Gary, about like with Johnny and a little bit of what happens like today. I think the players feel a little, trying to figure the right word, maybe sense of obligation to get it done because their families are in town and you're in front of your home crowd. And, there's a little bit of that we dealt with against Dallas to get to the Stanley Cup Final. We weren't able to do in the Game 5. So you want to try to get those guys out of that headspace because it's human nature. And that's what I was saying. Once they get into the routine, get in their car, drive to the rink, I think they can start just focusing on how am I preparing to win like I have 100 and some times, right? We've won 66 times this year, and how am I going to prepare to win 67 and try to get into that sort of zone? And that's what we were talking about, and take more of that, what we just learned from the previous series to, try to get the guys ready.
67 is a pretty good number for you.
It is. It's a great number. For those that don't know, Ottawa 67's major junior, good hockey team way back when. Still is. Anyway, that's it. It's enough of my ramble.
Take two more questions. Front left.
Ryan Clark, ESPN. Bruce, you talked about, hey, this is what your routine is in terms of meetings and all that. But from the minute you wake up to the minute you get to the rink, do you ever try to find time where you don't think about this on a day like today, or is this really the only thing you think?
No, I took my dog for a walk, probably around 11:30. It was awesome. I mean, we can't jam ourselves up too all day long. I mean, as a coach, you tend to do it much more than the player, I would believe. That's what I remember. I think players just want to get to the rink and play. They don't want all the information sometimes, and that's where we always got to sort of decide what we want to give them when. So, no, I mean, listen, I'm just like everyone else. It's going to pop into your head, and you're going to think of things, and you're going to have combinations in your head ahead of time that you might go to if the game doesn't go right. There's certain things you may change. Some of it's gut instinct on the bench. You just go with what you see, and other times you have to plan, I think, for situations that may pop up so you're prepared. But other than that, no, I think it's been hockey drifting in and out like every other game. Just trying to enjoy the day.
Last one, front left.
I guess real quick, first the important follow-up. What's the name of the dog? That's the always important journalism question.
Oh, dog is Winnie. My daughter named the dog.
And
Yep.
then as far as just going through a run like this with family, for both yourself as coaches and for players, what's that like for them, just to kind of as they go and they're along with this and everything like that?
Well, they've been with you for the get-go, right? So they've been through the ups and downs, and sometimes it's tougher on them because they'll read things and it's like, I don't know how to quite say it, but if they feel what you feel, but even more because they kind of a little bit helpless to correct it, right? Where we are, that's what we do. So I think players feel that as well. So that's why you feel that obligation a little bit, right? They've been in your corner all along. So that's a little bit of the balance right here today. And Florida's going through it. All the teams that make the playoffs, I'm sure Denver went through it last night. So it's just part of what we sign up for, and you've got to make sure that and families, right? They get used to it a little bit. And there's always more good than bad, but sometimes when it doesn't work out, your families feel it, and that's just part of it.
Thank you for your time, Bruce.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
You've been watching breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.